What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So going into this upcoming week, you don't have that much optimism. Fear and greed index is under the extreme fear category 4, so people's appetite for risk isn't necessarily on the table. You have a lot of big names all citing that we're going to have a Black Monday, meaning the broader market, not just Lucid, but the broader market will be going down like 20-something%. So it's not that much optimism. In my opinion, I think that this might happen if we do have, let's say, more retaliation coming from, let's say, Europe or other countries, then most likely we'll have a significant pullback. But despite that, though, a lot of big names have gone down like 15% over this last week. Lucid, I guess a lot of people don't really realize that, but Lucid actually did close 2.24% in the green over the last week. And even though you have shorts really trying to double down and hit Lucid hard, piggybacking off of the broader negativity in the market, there's, for whatever reason, big money buying. So I don't know if they're buying because of the recent Q1 numbers, or potentially, I don't know, maybe there's some big news or partnership coming that just the broader market and public doesn't know. But there's a battle going, and most likely you can anticipate that battle to continue going into this upcoming week. So should be a lot of volatility. Data point wise, you have a lot of Fed speakers throughout the week. Wednesday you have FOMC minutes, Thursday CPI, and then PPI on Friday, as well as Michigan consumer sentiment. So a lot of big opportunity to really move the market. One thing I wanted to kind of throw out there, so we do have a new interim CEO. So I feel like there is a lot of good opportunity for him to show commitment to Lucid that not a lot of people have done. And so even though, despite the massive volatility in the market, you did have GameStop, even though I'm not that big of a MOAS or whatever people like to call it type of guy, but like it did do fairly well on Friday. So you can't ignore like that. So it went up 11.33% because of this. So Ryan Cohen did buy a hell of a lot of stock. So essentially, whenever you have a individual showing this level of commitment, that is like very telling. So that's something that unfortunately Peter and many other executives have never done. So this shows all of the insider transactions for Lucid. Unfortunately, you have a lot of transaction code A's, meaning that they were just awarded stock, so basically given. And then you see occasionally transaction code F, that's for selling for tax purposes. Sometimes you see transaction code S, so straight up sell, and that's just straight selling, not for taxes. Very rarely, unless it's through the PIF, which is considered an insider, they technically are the only ones to ever use transaction code P, so purchasing using their own money. That is something that Peter has never ever done. And if you kind of look here, this shows all the transactions for Peter. So unfortunately, you don't really have like anything like to jump up and down over. So if Marc really did show some level of commitment, given the fear in the market, if he was to actually buy Lucid stock using his own money, transaction code P, then Lucid will just like go up like crazy. So that's just it might not happen this week, but if anyone's listening or Marc is listening, I feel like that would be a huge sentiment boost. But aside from that, though, looking forward into this upcoming week, you should have a lot more 13Fs. So we'll wait and see exactly what big institutions also have done within Q1. But as far as specific to Lucid, there isn't any fireside chats, no interviews planned. They seem to be doing that off script anyways, so rather spontaneous. But the only thing it looks like they are doing is Lucid Air in Frankfurt. So yeah, and then also on the latest flyover, as I did bring up yesterday, it looks like Gravity is starting to ramp up a little bit. So more and more studios might be getting them, meaning more pictures online of test drives and whatever else. But Going into this upcoming week, like I said, shorts have really just tried to suppress Lucid. So even on Friday, shorts increased to 4.08 million shares. 24.51% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 297.92 million shares overall are being shorted. So shorts are starting to really double down. Cost to borrow minimum is negative. So a lot of different reasons for that. Could just be a little bit more of an error, or it could insinuate that there is brokers out there physically paying people to short Lucid. So that's kind of a gray area. You don't really have that much analysis on that, because why would anyone want to analyze manipulation, right? Only like you're pretty much blaming big money, and nobody likes to do that. But aside from that, based on where it did land, there is no going to be spike, no gamma squeeze. Looking into this upcoming week, you have 12,000 at that 250 and then 22,000 at that 3. So if, let's say, Lucid does get close to those strike prices, you could see shorts get a little bit more active, try to suppress it and stuff. With it right now at $2.28, trading right now between this pivot and this S1. So 211 will be a strong support, and then 233 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. And if, let's say, we do have a Black Monday of sorts, just take note of the other support points. So $1.97 and then $1.75. If that does happen, in my opinion, I don't see Europe kind of retaliating at all, in my opinion, of course. So I think there might be a little bit of a nice push higher on Monday, but again, anything could happen. It's kind of like a Russian roulette right now. There was a couple good ratings that did come out on Friday because of Lucid's Q1 earnings. That could happen, so you might see more ratings. There's usually roughly like 5 that do follow their their numbers that do come out, so there might be 3 more that come out, but again, dependent on the actual price target that they do give, that could move Lucid a little bit. But on the actual chart going into this week, it's not the best. So it was showing a lot of good optimism last week, showing that it wanted to break above that 50-day moving average, and that is a very big deal in Lucid's case. But unfortunately, it did get kind of smacked down a little bit. Still doing rather well, like I said, did close in the green over the last week. But as far as on the technical standpoint, it's not looking all too optimistic. So as far as things to kind of take note of, just go back to here. Just watch for a lot of these. So 233, 255 for the next strong targets. That is if there's going to be like a recovery. And then 211, 197, and then 175 as good support levels. In my opinion, I feel like it is just the broader negativity is going to drag down on Lucid, as well as just the broader market, and take it between this S1 and this S2. Hopefully I'm wrong and it just spikes from here, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of negativity in the market, so there might be a little bit more downside rather than up. But again, as I said, I hope I am wrong. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you are looking for some kick-ass buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.